I guess.
I mean, you're on a roll.
We'll see.
I got
We'll be
bills
the
to
judge of
pay.
that.
Okay, so we got a lot going on today. Fun
do.
stuff. Alan McNamara is going to join us in a sec after I hear she had quite the steamy conversation last week that I hope can catch up on a little bit.
You needed to be there.
What do you mean by that?
Well, maybe I'll save that. Maybe I'll save the
okay.
bickering for when she comes.
Yeah, I owe her one, is what I hear. But first, we have a kind of a big story going on, a real, actual news story, and Kenzie Beach is live somewhere, right?
Yeah.
What do we know about that so far?
Let's have
Let's
her on
find
and
out.
find
All
out.
right,
Yeah, there
that's why we
go.
have reporters, right?
There she is.
Hey
Kenzie,
guys, how's it going?
I drove right by you with that crime scene, alleged crime scene, whatever you want to call it, on the way to work, and I'm like, looks like something's going on here.
Yep.
But apparently you'd already been there for hours. What's going on?
Yeah, pretty crazy. So this is the largest black market marijuana operation that we've seen in the last decade. But I want to start by saying, before people go crazy in the comments, yes, we know that marijuana is legal in the Valley, but this was an illegal operation. So they were not doing anything by the books. It's not regulated. None of that. And that they've said this hub was linked to a lot of deadly and violent crime in the Valley. So when it's illegal, they've got, there's a lot coming out about this, but long story short, this is the largest black market marijuana bust that we've seen in the Valley in the last decade.
Kenzie, how long have you been out there so far? What have you been seeing, and have you talked to anyone yet?
Yeah, so we actually were able to go beyond the tape, walk through this entire facility from the outside. It looks like a business complex, and kind of a, rundown business complex, but behind those doors, it is a full-on marijuana operation. Every single stage of the process. I'm not well-versed in marijuana knowledge, but just tons of different plants, seeds, buds. They were processing, packaging, selling everything. Like that photo right there, that's a full-on operation. It's not just like, some rinkety-dinkety small thing. There were 4 busts in the Valley today. We know there's 3 people detained. We were able to talk to the sheriff and the lead on this from the narcotics division as well. And they just broke down just how massive this is in the Valley. So that's the hub right there. That's where we were, the hub. And it's moving not just across the Valley, but across the whole U.S.
Hey, Kenzie, I'm thinking, did they tell you, were they tipped off by somebody? I assume that's kind of how it went down. And also, a second part to that, if you don't mind, there's a real dispensary right there. How does that layout work?
So that was really interesting. We did ask if it was linked at all to the dispensary. This is my personal opinion, but I think they were smart in where they placed it. If there's a dispensary a couple doors down, maybe you're not thinking about the smell of marijuana that's coming from this business complex. I'll tell you, I probably reek of marijuana from being all around it. The plants were everywhere. But to your first question, Brian, remind me what you're
about just getting tipped off, maybe.
Oh yeah, so I thought that was really fascinating. They were tipped off because this was a multi-million-dollar business account with UPS. They were shipping through UPS, and UPS is like, this is a lot of money. So that's how they were tipped off, which is just fascinating. They were surveilling this area specifically since May, and the sheriff believes, this has been going on through this facility for years now.
Oh, wow. That's pretty crazy.
The UPS angle.
Yeah.
UPS PD. Wow.
They were the ones behind it all.
They're just like, this is too much money to be legal. But the weird part,
they smelled it. I don't know.
Well, that too. But I wondered if I'm trying to think this through. Now that marijuana is legal in so many places, I thought that would kill the black market, but apparently not.
I thought so too, yeah.
So that's actually really interesting you both bring that up, because at first I was like, even myself and even the sheriff said, yeah, marijuana is illegal, but this is not. And it's not just operating illegally as a business. It causes so many other issues. Like they said, it's linked to, they've got like 14-year-olds as their distributors. Then you got 14-year-olds, 15-year-olds with all this money, all this product. It's linked to robberies, shootings, deadly homicides. It's such a ripple effect.
So this was a lengthy investigation. They were finally able to bust them. I wonder what their
I'm-
I wonder what their like initial court appearance is going to look like, or if they confess to any of this, or how that worked out. But we probably don't have those details yet.
No, we don't have really any specifics in terms of that. I mean, it's still a very active investigation. We were really lucky to be able to go behind the tape, talk to the sheriff, kind of see as they were. I mean, they're collecting it right now. They're still bagging it. They're saying it's going to take 2 days to comb through this entire facility and get all the evidence so that they'll then present it to the Attorney General's office and start with that whole process of charging them.
And that's a good sign for the media folks like us that the sheriff's letting us go behind the scenes.
Yeah.
That doesn't always happen, right?
It really doesn't happen often, so that's really cool that she was able to go out there.
Yeah,
And,
I mean, there's sometimes we're standing by the tape and I'm guessing just as much as people driving by of what's going on, but we were able to get behind the tape and really get an inside look, which we really appreciated. And then we're allowed to tell the story. But yeah, lots of product moving through there.
how much stronger was the smell inside versus outside?
Well, when it's 117 degrees and you have all those plants now that they've, laid out across the cement and blacktop, it was cooking out there.
Man.
To say the least. So I'll just let your imagination run.
Yeah, you're going to have some explaining to do when you get home to your husband. And he's going to be like,
when I get home, my husband's going to be like, what did you do today?
pick up some new habits that I don't know about.
No, I don't think so.
Walk through the whole newsroom, walk to
know.
HR.
Yeah, I don't want to be getting any interesting looks.
Yeah. Did you smell Kenzie when she walked by? Oh, my God, what's going on?
I'm going to put like a name tag on covering marijuana buds.
Yeah, right. Can I ask you about the heat? I mean, I think we hit 117 today. My God. I mean,
It's
it's just awful out there.
It's brutal. We even filmed Look Lives, and for people who don't know what that is, we're kind of out there, kind of walking, talking, showing you what's going on, and that's what'll air at 4, 5, and 6. But I even told my producers, I'm like, it's still not much easier. I mean, dripping sweat. I've had my hair up on my head several times today. But
It is hard when it is that hot out there. You go out, you shoot what you need to shoot, and you come back in and you keep the car running because it is so hot. You don't have time for that AC to build up again by turning on your car. So you just keep it on. Keep the car on and park in shade. I'm sure that's what they're parking in shade.
Somebody's mad at Kenzie because the last time I was here before my vacation, you were on a hot story with those hikers. Like you're getting these heat stories directed your way, either just by the universe or I don't know what.
I think Ashley has it the worst today in terms of the heat. She's on the tarmac at the airport.
Ouch.
To advocate for all the people that work on the tarmac in the heat. So she's got to go through it just like they do. So I can't even imagine.
Oh, gosh.
We need to give a shout out to our producers who let us do Look Lives when it is this hot out. I think Ashley's doing a Look Live too. Yes.
Should we put the cap at like 105 maybe?
We should have
Something
a cap.
like that. Can we just
when it hits 110, 12, I think that's
okay.
Once it's
I agree.
That's fair.
Over 109 is one thing, 110, 11, 12, 13 is
so true. Isn't that true? It hits that 110 mark. You're like, nope, that's too much.
You are running into the building, running to the car, and trying to find ways to still do a great job and tell the story, but just not in the sun the whole time.
Too, do you guys ever feel it from your feet? I mean,
that's the worst. That's the worst.
So hot.
My calves start burning because the sun reflects on the ground up to my calves. Yes.
Well, I do feel it through my shoes, and I'm like, that's my signal. No, this is too much.
Once you're sticking to the ground.
Your shoes are melting.
Hey, Kenzie, great stuff out there. Thanks for joining us as always. You do a great job, and we'll see your story tonight at 4 and 5 and beyond.
Yeah.
See you
Thanks,
later.
Kenzie.
Stay cool.
Stay cool.
Drink a lot of water.
Well, speaking of the Sky Harbor thing that Ashley Rodriguez is covering, I said AC issues out there. Can you
Terminal
imagine?
4, I know.
Why does this always happen? Like, why can't it says maintenance.
Yeah.
But don't you do AC maintenance, I don't know, December, January?
There must have been something wrong with the AC.
Right?
I'm sure that wasn't planned. Because if you were to plan it, I mean, our airport, do that at midnight,
Or that.
Yeah.
Good point.
Yeah.
Midnight. But apparently, so what we're reading here is that people if you get a long TSA line, can you imagine the tempers flaring there when there's no air conditioning? It said it got to the mid 80s inside
Terminal 4.
Inside Terminal. Now, mid 80s isn't awful, but inside it's not great. Like when I set mine at... Yeah. What do you put yours at when you're gone? I put it at 83. That's what SRP told me to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
83, sometimes 84.
Okay.
But yeah.
You're saving a couple extra nickels there.
Hey, I'm trying to. Last year, my bill was like $200, so we're at 100 now. We're doing better.
I know. Well, okay, so that's going to be Ashley's story. I can't wait to hear from people inside Sky Harbor and just maybe an explanation.
Yeah.
Like, did it break down? Just say if it broke down, it broke down.
Yeah.
But maintenance and
So I know
July?
flights weren't delayed, so that's a good thing.
It's a good thing.
And maybe they were out of Terminal 4. I mean, Ashley will have all those details, so we can't wait to hear from her. But
Good point.
yeah, we'll figure it out.
And we got to wrap it up real quick. But speaking of airplanes, like this one Delta flight had to make an emergency landing on the tropical island in the Azores. Like, come on.
That is insane.
And
Coming
then,
from Spain?
From Spain. How about that? And then they're like, they get an extra, and they paid for their hotels, they paid for their stuff. I guess they had to go to New York the next day, but I wonder if people are like, nah.
Yeah, I know.
How about?
Well, okay, it sounds cool, but imagine if like you hear you're on the plane, you hear like we need to make an emergency landing. Like you don't know if you're going to land. So that's the least they could do is put you up in a hotel, give you some food,
Fair enough.
and maybe you just enjoy the scenery until your next flight.
Fair enough. There are worse places to make an emergency landing, but I hear your point loud and clear. All right, good stuff. Hey, we got Ellen McNamara coming up. She doesn't know, but it's payback time when she comes out here. But beyond that, I'm kidding. Beyond that, she has a really interesting story about the Oklahoma City bombing, which I'm going to show my age was one of my first major stories in my career. Anyway, so that's coming up next.
Yep.
Good stuff.
We'll be right back. Welcome back. We have Ellen McNamara with us here today, and you were here last week.
I know, and Brian wasn't.
And Brian wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
And
I've been hearing things.
Yeah.
Word spread. Can I ask before we get to that? Can I ask you one question about your show is Curious Bee?
Yes.
I never did hear what the B stands for. Now it could be lots of things.
Yeah.
It
Yep.
could be brain.
Uh-huh.
Could be beauty.
Could.
Do you want? Can you help me clear that up at all?
Well, what do you think it means?
Well, I'm just
Yeah.
I'm stumped.
Say the whole word.
Can we?
it.
Bombshell.
Well,
We walk-
bombshell.
Oh.
Bombshell,
Yes.
that's a good one.
The curious bombshell.
Can we talk around it?
Well, so okay, listen. The B is basically, it's a bad word.
Rhymes with witch.
It absolutely does.
Oh.
Yes. And the reason it does is because right now, a lot of women use it as a term of endearment
Sure. Okay. Yeah.
for other women.
That's true.
And
I'll
it
give you
is it's a compliment.
Yeah.
Like I call my girlfriends like,
Really?
hey,
Yeah.
you're a cool,
Oh, okay.
and you're a cool, and
Yeah.
so it's just a thing now.
That's cute.
And so anyway, and the show it's a lot more edgy. It's not what we do traditionally on television.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
as you found out last
Yeah.
week.
Like last week, what was going on there?
Yeah, what was mentioned about
Yes.
Brian Webb?
So last week, we had a guy on who is educating young men about sex, and he's very influential. He has a huge following right now, and so last week when you were gone, I said, you're on the dating scene right now, Brian,
Don't get
and
me started.
you might learn something from
Don't get
Natural
me started.
Jackson.
Well,
that's what I
go
said.
right. Since I missed it, give me a pointer or two.
I'm not gonna give you a pointer. I would get so fired.
Well, I'll
Like
give you the
HR.
pointer.
Okay.
He said that if you are in a healthy relationship,
Yeah.
then having sex once a week is good.
Right.
But if you have it 2 or 3 times a week, that's
Better.
Right.
That's-
Yeah. Yeah. He said like if you're married. He said if you're
Yeah.
Yeah.
if you're happily married and like you have kids and you're very busy, you have careers, like once a week, that's normal. Twice, 3 times a week, try for that.
Can I throw a monkey in the wrench though? Why is he steering this toward young guys? Young guys want to have sex all the time. What about guys who've been married for 20, 30 years and they're like, the football
going
game's
on?
on, honey.
Well, no, but see, right now that's the big problem though, is that young guys are really struggling right now because they lack a lot of confidence. They're on dating apps. They're getting rejected a lot right now.
True.
So they really do need a lot of help. So that was why. That's honestly like you might think that they're not struggling. No, they're struggling, and they don't talk about it. And
what-
so that's why he's talking about it.
what was his advice about dating apps?
He actually was not a fan of dating
Oh
apps.
God, they're awful. They are
Okay,
awful.
you said it.
Yeah.
Are you on them?
So this is what he said about dating apps, Brian, for men.
Hit me.
Okay, so he said that for if you're a very attractive woman, you don't need a dating app.
Right.
And that if you're an attractive woman, a man is going to find you no
Right.
matter what.
Just walking down the street.
And so if you're a man, don't get on a dating app.
Yeah.
You should approach a woman, and that you're going to be the outlier if you do approach that woman in
Interesting.
public, and that
Interesting.
she's going to be like, man, this guy stands out because he actually
Okay.
approached me in public.
Problem
And-
being, you don't know anything about that woman's past if she's dating.
Right.
I guess she'll have a wedding ring on. in theory,
Yeah,
if she's
I mean, you got
married.
to check. Yeah.
You got to kind of read the room, I guess.
He also recommended approaching, just like talking in general, to 5 people a day. 5 random people a day. And it doesn't have to be
That's-
like an in-depth conversation, and it can be, 2 women, 3 dudes, like just random, hey, how's it going? Oh, hey, oh, what do
Yeah.
you do for a living?
Yeah.
Just to kind of, get off your phone
Sure.
and
Like
be
people,
open.
I hear people used to do that, like
Yes.
talk to each other,
Yes.
strangers.
Yeah,
even.
at the grocery store, at
Yeah.
the gym, just so that's his recommendation, 5 people, and that's what he tells like younger men. So, but it can be applied to anything.
So he agrees with the big picture theory that young men are in kind of a crisis right now.
Absolutely, yeah.
And it goes from dating. It goes like education is an issue.
Yeah.
I mean, it just who saw that coming?
Right, I know.
When all the
And I will say the pandemic did not help. I mean, the pandemic was a big problem. That's kind of where all of this started. So it really kind of made everything worse.
Did he have any advice for older men by chance?
He did, yeah. I mean, older men, kind of the same thing with older men, but I think he did say the dating apps, same thing with older guys. That was a big thing too. Dating apps, he's a big proponent of going to the gym, being healthy. that was a big thing too.
So look hotter, baby.
So Brian,
I look hotter, but
I know. I need
Yeah.
to get
what are
more
you doing
muscles.
what are you doing on your weekend?
hip thrust.
You know,
He's big into hip thrusts.
The only
I'll show you
I
the
am
video of
hot.
him doing
I
hip
think that's not his
thrusting.
problem.
We can show the video of him
Yeah.
doing hip thrusts and anyway.
the only answer to all this to me that I've learned too late is to get married and stay married. That's the only answer.
Yeah.
Well, but you don't want to be miserable,
Yeah.
you know? I
Yeah.
mean,
Well,
you don't want
okay.
to be miserable, though, if you're in a terrible marriage, you know? I mean,
Okay.
that's the other side of
Right.
it,
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
You know?
Get
You don't
married happily and stay married.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean,
Okay,
if
I
you're
hear you.
married happily,
Yeah.
you know, and yeah.
So, when you're out on your stories and you're interviewing people, and
Yeah.
there you go. You can
Oh, really?
knock out
At
your
the
5.
at the house fire and the murder scene, I should start checking
Aren't
out
you-
chicks walking around.
Aren't you doing a fun story tomorrow? Come on.
In
What about
Pine
the
Strawberry, am I
what about the
gonna
nudist
date a
place?
girl in Pine Strawberry? I mean, even
Hey,
even
why
someone who-
not? Why not?
The nudist colony.
the nudist
or whatever.
colony, right?
You
Right.
know what you're working with at that point.
Exactly right. I mean, who do they send to? Who do they think? Let's send to the nudist colony. The Webb.
Why don't we just have a little segment here and, people can weigh in and you can do quick
goodness.
zooms with them.
What about like I don't know, a school story, you know?
A teacher.
Yes.
There you go.
Yes.
You know what's
Maybe a
fun-
principal.
a principal.
Yeah.
A kindergarten,
Hospital
a nice kindergarten
stories.
teacher, you know?
Hospital stories. Come on. Nurse.
Does anyone have any
wanna-
ideas out there for Brian?
I
Yeah.
want to say some
Please
things.
put
I
it in the
don't think
chat.
that I can
a nice
say.
young lady for Brian.
You can say it. This is a safe
well,
space, I
did-
think.
Let me try to inch that way. The dating apps are, I don't know. I agree with the guy.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and a friend of mine who will remain nameless was on the dating app for many years and
Yeah.
like went on several dates and nothing worked out.
Yeah.
Right.
The whole time, and you just hear horror stories, and then I finally tried it maybe 3 weeks ago, and men have always had a bad reputation of doing what they do when dating is going on, but women, I mean, are just like
Yeah.
they're 1 minute, gone the next. And like the guy says, they probably have 500 options to my 5 maybe possibilities.
Right. I think, it's very superficial, right? I mean,
Sure.
it's very superficial. It's all, it's imagery. You can doctor up a photo, right? I mean, so
Your
I think,
prompts, whatever you write, like, is this
yeah.
person funny?
Right. And I think it all comes down to connection, right? And so if you kind of what he was recommending, if you were physically having a conversation with 5 different people a day, that wow, that's going to kind of increase your odds of like, hey, you're talking to people.
How did you meet your husband? How did you meet your fiance?
You first.
It was just a connection, a friend of a friend. But
Okay.
I mean, so we're going to be celebrating our 16th anniversary Friday.
Wow.
So, but that's a friend of a friend. This was way before this.
Yeah.
I mean, that was
That's the
a
ideal
yeah.
way to do
Yeah.
it. Why
completely
doesn't that happen more? Nobody
completely
sets
different
anybody up
time.
anymore.
I
Do
don't
they?
know.
How did you meet?
I don't know.
So I met Jake at a bar. So like the old fashioned way.
Sure.
I
Yeah.
was on an app, but I didn't need the app. And we had mutual friends, and we were at a bar for my friend's birthday, and another friend told him, "Hey, come over here. Friends are over here." And I just met him that way.
And you guys
So-
are in the same business, right?
Yes,
I
we
mean,
are in the same
yeah.
business. So he was
You
just
have
at a
lot in
different news
common.
station. Yep. And we were at 2 different news stations, and all the sports guys hung out no matter what station you were at. So they were all at this party. I was there for my friend's birthday, and that's how we met.
She
Yeah.
fell for the cool sports guy.
Right? Absolutely.
Was it that first time? Did you guys set up the next meeting?
So I saw him 2 days later, and we were at a bar again. And he is drunk, and he's just like, "I don't know how to tell you this. I like you."
Oh,
And that's how
there
it
you
all
go.
started.
There
Yeah.
you go.
But see, that's the step though that I think a lot
Yeah.
of young men it's hard
Yeah.
it's hard for them to take.
He went
It's hard
for
them
it,
to take.
and it worked.
Yeah.
Here I am.
Yeah.
The confidence booster.
We actually were supposed to talk about Oklahoma City bombing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which is a serious, heavier story, but you got a great interview.
Yeah, I did get a great interview. I don't know how much time we have, but tomorrow at 2:00, the new episode is up of The Curious Bee, and I interviewed a woman named Amy Downs, and she was pulled from the rubble of the Oklahoma City bombing. Yeah. It's been 30 years since the bombing. We have a clip of
let's
that
play
right
that.
now. Let's listen to that real quick.
April 19th, 1995 changed American history forever. Amy Downs, who went by Amy Petty at the time, was working in the credit union in the Federal Building in Oklahoma City, the Alfred P. Murrah Federal Building.
And as I turned to say, what do you need? I don't know if the words ever came out or not. That was when the bomb went off. And it was just this incredible roaring in my head. It was so loud, and everything went black, and I could feel this rushing sensation like I was falling. I found out later I was falling. I had fallen 3 floors. I lay there just basically with the light flashing before my eyes, thinking, I'm 28 years old and I'm getting ready to die, and I really never even lived.
What were your thoughts about him, knowing that this was the guy that did it?
I couldn't wrap my head around it. I really struggled wrapping my brain around a person, not just a person, another American did this. I really hard time. But all around, people were coming together for good in the face of this evil that happened to us. I remember the 8th day in the hospital, looking out of my window in the middle of the day down at the highway below, and what I saw was all the cars driving with their headlights on in the middle of the day. And it was just a small symbol of love and hope and support from the community.
That looks like an amazing interview.
Yeah.
I want to ask, how do you lock down an interview like that?
It takes some time, it certainly takes some time and effort. But I'm like kind of a one-woman show, and I just work to get those interviews. And if, again, the concept of my show is I want to interview interesting people and I want to learn. So I reach out to these people, and a lot of times they say yes. And so I lock them down, and it's just great. And I just talk to them, and we talk about all sorts of different things. And she has an incredible story to tell. So 2:00 tomorrow, that will be up on Fox Local. And I hope that you guys will tune in, because again, it's been 30.
All right, welcome back to Fox 10 Talks. Ashley Loaeza is here, and I think it's kind of hot today.
Yes, sir.
Kinda.
Kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really hot
Very.
today. Yeah.
Like
Extremely.
record-breaking stuff.
Yeah, like, are we not sweating up a storm
Yeah.
here?
It's kind of hot
Do you
in
want to
here.
step outside and do the show out there?
Oh my god!
Oh, yeah, very safe to do
Just
so.
the thought
yeah.
of even
Highly recommend.
going to my car.
No.
Yeah.
Or those people who live here and they go, the summers aren't that bad, and I'm like, yeah, You go from your air-conditioned house to your air-conditioned car to your
Exactly.
airconditioned office,
Yeah.
and that's okay. Yeah, you're.
But when you work outside,
when you
that's
work
a different
out there.
story.
And you do see
Such a
people
different story.
walking around and working in this, and you're
I
just
see
like,
people
oh my
running.
God.
Yeah.
Miles
Running.
and miles. Emily,
no.
excuse me.
Yeah.
I can't even fast-paced walk. But you just came out of a vacay, though. You were in San Francisco. The weather
went to
was
the-
much nicer.
You escaped
Well,
the heat.
I did, but they were complaining because it was 90 degrees.
Yeah.
they
What?
really were. And
My
I
mom
gotta
complains like that.
Yeah, and I got to admit, I was like, yeah, it is kind of hot. 90 degrees.
Oh, get outta here.
Quickly forgot. That's how
I mean,
fast it happened.
90s in San
90s.
Francisco, that is
For
bizarre.
them.
Yeah.
For them.
Yeah. A little too
Alameda
warm.
County Fair.
Alameda County Fair, shout out Pleasanton,
big
California.
time.
Yeah, I mean, much different situation there. But actually, California, they're also looking at some hot temps this week for the same reasons that we are.
Same
Yeah.
stuff. Let me guess. A high pressure, whatever you call
Take
it.
it away. Take it away, Brian.
I just know that big orange bubble that comes and sits.
Well, now
across
it's
the map.
red.
It's
That's
red.
when you know
Oh,
that we're
goodness.
in big, deep territory. Shall we talk about those?
Sure, yeah.
temps? I
Go
guess
for it.
just,
If
you
we
know,
have
get it out of the
to.
way. Yeah, so temperatures right now, we actually hit our daytime high, but we're still between the hours of 2 to 5 is when we hit that peak heat. So right now, this is what we're working with. We're very thankful that we are inside here with the AC. 116 here in Phoenix, 117 towards the Gila bed. We still have those extreme heat warnings in place till tomorrow, Thursday. I know we're groaning and moaning over here. And yeah, we've been a little bit warmer since yesterday. We've had that gradual bump in temperatures. And you can see here in Phoenix, we're at least 7 degrees warmer than we were yesterday. And that's right. We've hit our 116. Our record was our 2024 record of 116. So we tied it. Elsewhere, Flagstaff, Prescott, Sedona, Kingman. I mean, we've been near record breaking. So these temperatures, yeah, they're definitely unusual for this time of the year. Above normal has been the name of a game all summer.
Really?
And yeah, we talked about people, you know, the natives here, they're bopping around, they're running, they're doing whatever they want to do. But remember, we're in that major heat risk. So anyone and everyone is going to be really affected by this heat if we don't keep it indoors. So you definitely want to do that for today and tomorrow as well.
Can't we just have a normal summer? Like, is this normal now? This will be 3 bad summers in a row if this turns
Yeah.
out to be bad.
Yeah.
The only
At
3
least.
summers I've been here.
Yeah.
Yay.
Yeah. How were the last 3 summers for you
Oh, they're
guys?
awful.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, let's
What
not
do you
talk
think?
about it.
And you're from Texas. You
No,
came
no,
from
no.
Texas.
Yeah, but I'm from California, so I love that weather.
Yeah.
Texas was hot,
Hot.
but
And it's a different kind of hot too. Like
Yeah.
it feels different.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a little more
Different, and then-
humid there.
yeah, here, I don't know.
That sounds
I have
just-
It's
nothing good to
115.
say.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
It's a what? What's
It's
that?
115. That's the problem.
That's the
Yeah,
Yeah.
115.
But the winters, can we talk about the pros though?
Yeah,
There's a reason
yeah.
why I moved here, and I'll tell
trying
you
to
that
think.
much.
I'm trying to think.
Well, I moved here
winter.
to get away from the snow. Okay,
They just
to get away
gaslight
from the
you.
snow, to get away from the cold. Like, have you folks felt what 30 below wind chills is? It's not a
Yeah.
good feeling. I would rather deal with the heat than that. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's why I am not complaining.
I used
as
to
much.
say that.
You used to- I know. I'm
Yeah.
early on here, but I'm just like, I will never have to deal with my car not starting because it's so damn
That is a
cold.
struggle.
Snowing, shovel off. Like, well, there's a reason why we got snowbirds that come here.
But Ashley, don't you have some really like fabulous coats that you never get to
Good.
wear?
Good point.
That's nice. I got a whole
Yeah.
wardrobe section. I can't.
That
touch
is
now.
true. That is
Yeah.
true. But, you know, I mean, I am going to make some trips to Montana because I used to do weather for Montana, and Montana is beautiful.
Sure
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah, so keep that for the vacay. If I do want to go do some winter stuff, winter sports, I still have my ski gear
Okay.
and snowboarding gear. If I want to go to Flagstaff, I can do that, but willingly. Willingly.
Sure. So what's the advice there, Michael? If you have a great, cool winter coat, no real reason to use it, do you keep it or do you pass it forward? Pay it
One
forward?
day a year, I crank the AC up in my house, take the electrical bill, and throw on all of my Reno clothing that I.
Well, Macklemore
It's out of
moment.
fashion
So
now,
he keeps
but-
it. I have a little section in my closet where I have my coats that I do not wear and probably will never wear,
Never.
but
Like even it's a stretch to wear like a lighter mediums
Yeah.
jacket in the winter here. Maybe
Yeah.
a couple
Yeah.
days. That's about it.
Well, I wear a jacket in the newsroom most of the time.
Good point.
Yeah, everyone points that out. They're like,
Good
it's
point.
so hot outside, Lindsey. What are you doing? Well, it's cold in here, so I'm not.
Well, when I came in January to visit the station here, I mean, it was like 60s, 70s. People had in the newsroom had the space heaters on.
Oh, yeah.
And here I am laughing to myself, like, okay, I saw the winter
These
coats out
wimps.
there. So, yeah.
What's wrong with these people?
Because we're used to the triple digits.
Right. And get acclimated.
Like, I don't even know how to dress for this weather. That's what I'm struggling with now because wearing these dresses, it's just not like
I know.
just sweating there.
And truly, we need something flowy that's not too revealing, okay? Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, yeah.
You can't wear that outside.
No.
Absolutely
no,
not.
No, bad move.
Yeah.
Bad fashion choice today.
No.
So overall, you're still thumbs up on moving to Arizona. You're gung-ho.
I still really
stuff.
like it. You know,
Good.
I've retired my winter coats and I've got some more swim gear. I spent a lot of
Got it.
time in the pool.
There
Got
you
it.
go.
So I'm living La Vida
All
Loca
right.
here
Yeah.
in
All
AC.
right. Good to know. Good to know. All right. So before I let you go, so more, didn't I see maybe there's some relief somewhere out there, like maybe in the next
Please.
month? or
Yeah.
week?
Do we have time to pull up the 10-day real quick?
October, November. How's that looking?
Oh, maybe not too far out there. But what I can say is, I mean, we will get relief from the 110-degree temperature readings.
That's all I ask.
This is our point.
That's all I ask.
I mean, come on now.
105 's fine.
We'll take
Right.
the 105. That's going to be
Right.
so much nicer than 116, right?
I think we've all just even agreed today, right, that 110 mark is the cutoff where, like, no moss. I can't do it.
No moss, yeah. And it's really hard, too, when you have pets. I have my dog. That's the one, that's actually the one thing that's a little bit of a struggle is trying to space out, when I could take my dog. I have to wake up a little bit earlier.
Sure.
And then, late night walks as well. That could always be a little bit dangerous, but
Level of booties. keep
she
them-
does have a little booty. Yeah, we actually use her
good.
when we use them from the snow. Yeah, but
Okay.
she's not a big
Snow
fan
boot.
of them.
Yeah, they don't.
She's not a big
Don't-
fan of them.
They
Dogs
don't-
walk funny
It's so
when you
funny.
put
Yeah,
them on.
she's
That's
not-
a funny story. We should do
Yeah.
that story. Just
it's
go
the
out and
cutest
do
thing.
dogs walking in booties and just the funniness of how they
Yeah.
walk.
Oh yeah, and like the
That would
first
be fun.
timers too. Oh, so cute.
Just turn this into a comedy show.
Let's do it. I love
Maybe
it.
you'll find someone there with a dog.
There we
Dog
go.
park. Dogs parks.
There you
Hey.
Let's
love
not
it.
go back there. Okay. Thanks, Ashley.
Yes.
Always love you coming in.
Thanks,
We-
guys.
And
Stay
don't
cool
forget
out there.
about weather and whatever. Hello.
Yeah, tomorrow. Yeah,
Tearing apart the internet.
Tuesday. Exactly.
Yeah.
Tuesdays and Thursdays, 1 p.m. Yeah, we literally talk about weather and whatever tickles our fancy. So
What was the whatever today?
the whatever today was how I went horseback riding. We talked about how
Ooh.
M&Ms, we're trying to get rid of those and everything. I talked about Virginia Slims. People thought I was a smoker, so you'll have to watch that.
Good
Anyways,
stuff. Thanks,
yeah,
Ashley.
see ya.
Appreciate it. Bye-bye. Nicole Krasean is on deck. Reel her in. Get her in here. Get her in here.
Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thanks, Nicole.
Yeah,
It's
thanks
always
for
a
having
champ
me.
on our show here.
Yeah,
Um,
the happiness is going to have to end though because I don't have. It's not a
Yeah.
happy story today. Yeah.
Somebody's got to cover the
It's
hard
heat
news around here.
related.
It is heat
Yeah.
related, so we are still talking about the heat. We're actually taking it back in time to last July. There was a man who was found dead. It was a heat-related death, and now his family is filing a lawsuit against Maricopa County because he was considered an adult that needed to be under constant care.
Okay.
And there were some potential holes that were,
Sure.
that we
Was he was in
discovered.
a facility of some
He
sort?
was in a facility, and there was an appointment. We got our hands on the lawsuit today, so we're going to be going through that, and then we'll have that at 9 and 10 tonight. But basically, there was an appointment. The family's alleging that there wasn't enough attention paid to whether or not he made it to the appointment. He was found several days after the appointment was scheduled, and then he was reported missing even after that. So,
Was someone supposed to be taking care of him or at that
yes,
appointment with him?
There was a transportation service that was taking him there, and then it seems like there was kind of that gap where we might not ever know exactly what happened. But this was a man who was 58 years old, but had a lot of mental health issues and basically couldn't take care of himself. So you would think that for the most part he needed somebody to be there overseeing. So, but it does relate to the heat because his main cause of death, the medical examiner determined, was dehydration due to extreme heat exposure. It was, I believe, 160 16, the day that he passed away. So very similar to the
Last
day
summer.
we're experiencing right now. Yeah.
I remember going out with fire crews. I think it was a year ago or maybe two, and they were going just out on strictly heat calls, and they let me tag along. And I remember we rolled up on this guy, and he was just laid out flat, by some abandoned shopping thing. I didn't know if he was alive or dead. He was not dead, but boy, you sure couldn't tell.
Yeah.
And a lot of people just have nowhere to go. I mean.
Yeah, and in the research that I've done for this story, I've learned a lot about when you have certain medication that you're taking, and it doesn't have to be, he had bipolar disorder and he was schizophrenic, but it doesn't have to be necessarily that extreme of a mental health case that you are on medication for. There's a lot of medications that react to the heat and that you might not even be aware of it. And so that was listed as like a secondary factor to his death was his mental health. So it might have been that it was accelerated because he wasn't on his medication as well, or there's a lot of things that we'll be poring over these documents to determine at least the allegations, but really sad case overall because he has family that loves him and now they had to bury him and they had a lot of questions that didn't get answered. So
do we know where he was found and if he was close to where his appointment was
I believe he was in the area, but he was like an alley that he was found in. So it's hard to say if he tried to like take shelter there because he didn't know where he was. It's hard to tell exactly what cognitive state he was in too. But it sounds like from the documentation, he was also like overdue for some of these injectables that he was supposed to be getting for some of his mental health. So, I mean, it just sounds like one of those cases where, we want to bring it to light because regardless of whether everything was done correctly or not, a life was lost and people miss him and want his story to be told. And it's a good reminder too that I believe it was like 151 degrees they found the surface temperature to be, and so he's laying on that. I mean, it's just like it's just a horrific way to die.
Are they doing anything to honor him this year?
So they haven't done anything. The family lives out of town. It's a whole backstory too, of course, that you realize as you're doing these stories that a lot of his family lived out of state, and it was another family member that ended up not being able to take care of him. So then he ended up in the care of the county, really. That was, he was under the Department of Public Fiduciary. So, yeah, just a lot of questions, but at the middle of it, a really horrific death and a family that wants.
welcome back. We are here with Isabella. So
Hi.
nice to see you.
Good to see you too.
You have some fun topics to talk about today.
I do, yeah. Do you want to talk about fries or dairy
Let's do it.
first?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you
French
had
fries.
French fries.
Dip your French fries in ice cream. Okay. We
What?
can start. Yeah. You never
Really?
tried that? Yeah.
Really?
It's good. Yeah.
Michael Lewis, he commented that he likes to dip the fries in like a chocolate milkshake.
Yeah. See?
Yeah.
Told
Seriously?
you.
Like
Wise
this is something
man.
missing
A
from
very
my
smart
life
man.
all these years?
Yeah.
Wendy's fries inside the chocolate frosty is number
Exactly.
okay.
Yes. Yes.
Come on. You don't
We've
know
been doing
this?
this for 50 years, Brian. Where have you been?
Seriously?
Okay, there's a lot of fries out there. I want to
Yeah.
hear your guys' favorite fries.
McDonald's, right?
I know.
Come on. What do they put in there?
they're
Is
so
They're
something
so
going on
salty,
in there?
but they're so good.
And on Friday, if you have the app, you can get them for free.
You get it free?
Why do I know this?
I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
why do you know this?
Because I'm on that app too often. Okay. Okay. What are we talking about with fries?
Yeah, what's up with fries? Let me check my notes here.
I'm hungry for fries. I personally
What about
really
curly
like
fries?
curly fries.
Oh, curly
fries.
Arby's curly fries.
Or Arby's is good
They're their own
stuff.
category. I think.
Yeah.
Curly fries.
Anybody sweet potato fries?
Yes, when I want to be healthy.
Are they healthy?
when we
Are
went
they
to lunch.
healthy? Are they really though?
Yeah. Are
when
they?
they've been dipping it.
I want fries to be salty, not sweet. So I'm
Yeah.
not a
That's
sweet
fair.
potato fry
That's why I did
guy.
half and half that
Yeah.
one time.
So we went to lunch together. We got the same meal, but she got the sweet potato fries and I got the regular fries.
So you
Yeah.
try upper on the healthy thing?
And then I regretted
She
getting
tried. Yeah.
regular or
You're
not
like-
regular
Could have had
fries.
some of mine.
It's okay. Well, I got half and half.
Oh,
I
yeah,
did
that's right.
half
Yeah, yeah.
fries and half sweet potato fries.
You can do that?
Yeah.
And then Lindsay ordered just regular fries, and
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I should have done that. But it's okay.
Sweet potato
French
fries,
fries,
that's
no.
like, it's too classy for me. Like,
Yeah.
I'm.
What about waffle fries?
Oh, waffle
he
fries
just
are
took it
so
up a
good.
notch.
Or the
We
crisp
need
cut
Obi in here
fries?
talking about the fries.
Nah.
The reason
Waffle fries.
It's amazing when you look at the potato, all the things you can do with it. When you think about it. I
Mashed potatoes.
mean, mash
I
them,
love
boil
mashed
them,
potatoes.
Wedge fries,
Wedge 'em,
regular fries.
baked potato
Yeah.
with a lot of
Is
bacon.
this is your
Potato
life, isn't it? You get to talk about fun stuff all the time.
Well, there was a reason we were supposed to bring up fries, and it's because
Okay.
a new study came out about what places in the country consume the most fries, and the amount of fries that they consume.
Yeah.
Some may say is a little concerning.
Little much.
Yeah.
Is Arizona on that list anywhere?
No.
No. we
On
survived in
average,
that.
a single American can eat at least 17 pounds of a small serving of fries per year.
Lindsay does with her McDonald's app.
Yeah.
I'm trying.
Lindsay's keeping Arizona in the running. all by
Yeah,
herself.
I am trying to do better. Okay, I don't buy fries from the grocery store anymore, so that's good. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Jake's like, do you want to get fries?
That's like-
Nope, I'm good.
That's like when you might need a therapist. If you
To defend Lindsay, the only reasonable way to pay for fast food is through an app or getting
Yeah.
a deal because it's
Thank
way
you.
too expensive.
I mean, if
for
you're
what
getting it for free, it doesn't count. That's what I've told myself. If something's for
Girl
free,
math.
it doesn't count.
Yeah, that's
oh,
good.
If you're
the
getting
calories
free-
don't count?
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, no,
Oh.
they do.
Okay.
Just trying to make it yeah. Thanks, but yeah, I know it's not good for me. I know a lot of calories, but you just have to have
Every
it
now
every
I have a
once in
cheat day.
while.
You have a cheat day? Or do you just do whenever?
Yeah.
Whenever?
It's whenever. It's whenever
be
I'm really
nice.
feeling it.
Well,
Yeah.
Lindsay's
So
a
on
runner,
Fridays
so
for
she
Lindsay.
she
Yeah.
needs the calories to work it off.
There you go. There you go. Okay, you guys have my back. I like that.
Always.
One of us does. I'm from the South, so I can say this, I think, but originally I was. But like people in the South are always on the list of like bad food eating.
Atlanta's
What's going
on
on
that
there?
list.
It's the comfort
That's just
food.
that's just how the
yeah.
culture there.
You know, I've noticed, because I'm from the West Coast, every time I go to the South, the portions are so much bigger.
Mm-hmm.
And I've found that the food is maybe less healthy.
Like fried.
Yeah.
It's like comfort food or the Southern
Yeah.
food, and it's so good, but a lot of it's
Yeah.
fried. I find the portions are so much bigger. So, yeah, I think most of the places on that list were from
Okay.
that side of the country.
So back in the day, before there was a problem with people eating bad food everywhere,
Mm-hmm.
were they eating bad food then there too, and it just wasn't considered an issue? I guess it had to be that way, right? Because that's Southern cooking.
Yeah, that's a good question. I'm not sure.
They just are like,
I'll find an answer for
we
you,
need-
and we'll bring it up
that's-
next
We need
week.
to study on that.
They might have needed to do more manual labor back then or walk more. So
Oh yeah,
You
and
know,
maybe like fast food wasn't as
exerting more
booming.
calories.
Cars didn't exist, and we had to plow
I will say,
the
as a West
fields.
Coast person, we just throw avocado slices on it and say it's healthy. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then
Avocado
charge like
toast.
$5.
Yeah.
There's
I know.
something green on this
Yeah.
plate. That counts.
$13 avocado toast. Very tasty.
Yeah.
good
And
stuff.
then if
Kids-
you want to add an egg, they jump
yeah.
it up to like
Avocado
1950.
toast.
A
That was
single
your
egg.
that was your generation, avocado toast.
Yeah.
That did not exist 10 years ago.
I love
I can make a
That I
good
know.
avocado toast.
Can you?
Yeah, I can even do the poached egg. Had a girls' brunch. I invited everyone over,
Oh
and
my
I
God.
yeah.
That sounds really good.
You
They
guys
loved
hang
it.
out for lunch. There's
Yeah.
girls' parties. Have I been invited to anything Ragas related at all? No.
Wow, we're going there. We
Brian
are
needs to
going
talk to
there.
people
Okay.
more.
I need to
So-
right.
Yeah.
See?
Okay.
It's my practice to
I'm
talk
gonna
to
invite
people.
you.
socialize them.
I'll invite you. Don't worry.
Awesome. Thanks for coming in. Good
Thank
stuff. Good stuff.
Get some fries today.
Get some fries.
Yeah.
Today is a cheat day.
My stomach
Thanks,
is
Isabella.
growling.
Thanks,
Thank
Isabella.
you.
Do I hear we have a brand new
We
reporter?
do, and I haven't met her yet.
And she has no idea what she's in for
I
we can
know.
ask her anything.
I
out
know.
here. Come on
I'm
in, Taylor
nervous
Wirtz.
for her.
Taylor,
Hello.
welcome to Arizona.
Thank you, guys.
What do you think so far? Are you dying? Are you wishing you were back home, wherever that was?
No, it's hot, but I came from Florida, so it's a dry
Oh, okay.
heat.
Yeah.
So
Okay,
if you have
okay.
curly hair, you love dry weather. So
True,
I'll take it.
true.
Yeah.
So so the humidity is a bad hair recipe,
Yeah,
right?
your hair just goes out and out,
Out.
and out. And
Wow.
It's when you're on TV, it's not
Yeah.
a good thing. So I don't care if it's 113. My hair looks good. That's all that matters.
There you go.
It's all about the hair.
See, I'm sweating in 113, and then my hair goes down because I'm sweating, and then I'm upset that my hair is going down.
Yeah, you always want what you can't have.
Yeah.
It depends
Oh,
on
I see.
There you
textures
go.
and
Oh, I
things
see.
like
Okay,
that. but-
we want to know all about you.
Yeah,
So, where were you before this? Why did you choose Arizona? And what are you looking forward to reporting on here?
Yes. So before this, I was in Fort Myers, Florida, Fort Myers, Naples area, about 2 hours south of Tampa. I loved it there, covered hurricanes, all sorts of crazy weather, but that 4 years of hurricanes was enough for me.
I always wanted to
Yeah.
do that. Stand like strapped to the tree. The hurricane's ready to
Oh, is that
blow me
right?
out to sea. I never got to do that. Never
Yeah,
once.
go
I never
there.
lived in a hurricane zone.
You know, it's never something I wanted to do, but now
Yeah.
that I've done it, I'm glad I did. I learned a lot.
Did it get dangerous for you at times?
It did. Our crew during Hurricane Ian was down in evacuation zone A, which is the most dangerous spot you can be in, and all of our news cars floated down the road. It was extreme flooding. We all had
Whoa.
to get rescued. Essentially, our station was knocked off the air for 3 days.
Oh, wow.
It was not anything I'd ever want to do again. But as a journalist, of course, that's you realize why you're doing this, to share people's stories and the hardship, and they're still recovering 3 years later. So
That's
that was rough, but it was a huge learning experience.
So your personal safety was, were you in one of those cars? Is it floated or were you?
We were in the hotel, thank goodness.
Okay.
The first floor flooded, but we were on the third floor, so we
Okay.
were okay.
Whoa.
So no one was hurt from our cruise, fortunately, compared
Good.
to what so many other people went through. But it was dicey, you know. It was
Yikes.
interesting.
What are we looking at here?
So
Taylor?
that was where I got my start at TCU, Texas Christian
Horned
University.
Frogs.
Ooh,
All right.
Texas.
So covering a lot of football, sports, and things like that. And this was my first job in Casper, Wyoming,
Look at those
market
baby faces.
197. That's where I cut my teeth. I anchored and produced the morning show, Good Morning Wyoming. We had so
Nice.
much fun, a lot of fun, like the morning show here at Fox.
So that's like Billings?
That was Casper, Wyoming.
Casper,
So
okay,
kind of
yeah.
central Wyoming there. And this was my last Station Week news where I spent 4 years. I reported out in the field during the week and I anchored weekends. And that's where all the crazy weather was and the crazy Florida people.
Yeah, well, yeah. I heard something funny about that. Somebody from Florida said you can't blame all the 23 million people live in Florida, and you can't blame the craziness on. Well, how did it go? Anyway, he was saying most of the people are crazy there.
Yeah.
Did you find that to be true?
Most of the stereotypes are true, but Florida grows on you. So, yeah, that was some knee-deep water I was in during one of the
Yeah.
hurricanes. And then this was in front of Brian Laundrie's house, if you remember the Gabby Petito case.
You covered that, huh?
Wow.
I did. The
Wow.
manhunt. We were outside his house when the FBI showed up and raided it, and that was surreal because that was obviously news from networks from all over the country
Yeah.
were
Yeah.
there. So that was another crazy thing when you just kind of realize, wow, people are paying attention. What we do matters.
Yeah. It absolutely
Isn't
does.
those national stories I mentioned earlier when Oklahoma City bombing happened forever, 30 years ago? I mean, that was my first taste of when the big boys came to town. But I don't know, you have to raise your game a little bit and you kind of watch to see what they're doing out of the corner of your eye. And it's kind of a good learning process, I thought.
It's exciting. We were getting donuts from the Today Show and Fox News.
Oh, that's cool.
So I was a little bit starstruck. And of course, you're trying to be a professional at the same time. But it was cool to see. I mean, they had these huge setups with easy ups and coffee stations. And we just had a camera and a tripod. But we did our best.
We don't have all that fancy stuff.
I mean, when we had the shooting down in Tucson before you ladies got here, everybody showed up, and then we, like you said, we just had like a camera and a tripod and a couple of lights, and they were building sets, hammers and screws, and saws were going for the the Katie Courics and Diane Sawyers of the world, and it was just like wow. It's just wow. Like, really? Like a construction crew is here?
It is.
Wow.
It is something to behold. I mean, just as, even not as a journalist, just as a person, to see all that goes behind the scenes of a network broadcasts like that.
When did we have you out on the streets? Do you know yet? Your first
Today.
Yeah.
Oh,
My
no.
first day. So made a little pit stop first to hang out with you guys.
Do you know what the story is then? You must.
Hopefully we'll see. I'm putting a few different things out and seeing what sticks. You know how it is.
There you go. Yep, it happens.
They just kind of kick you out of the nest and hope you can fly.
Yep. Yeah. Got through the first pitch meeting. So
there you go. And she did a great job. Yeah.
Thank you.
They're the worst, aren't they?
It's a very supportive environment here. It doesn't seem like it's too intimidating, which is
Do we have any
good.
restaurant recommendations for Taylor now that she's in town?
Oh yes,
McDonald's apparently.
Yeah, no, don't. Do not go to the McDonald's down the street. Don't walk. No, just avoid
It's
that.
a little. How would you describe it, Michael? Getting here from there.
It's definitely stay in your car, and if you can order with the window rolled up still, just yell really loud, but
Good to know.
keep it quick.
I have found that the food there is fine.
Okay.
It
That's
tastes
what
fine.
matters.
I've also walked there and saw some things that probably children should not see.
Okay, I have a recommendation. When you're on the job, Salad and Go. Have you tried Salad and Go yet?
No, I've not.
People love that place.
The frozen
best thing in
strawberry.
Arizona.
Yes. The
Really?
frozen strawberry lemonade, it's like $1.12. It's so good when it is 116 degrees
I was
out.
gonna say